The bottom.
Hey, baby.
Just slide the thing over.
Hey, baby.
Okay. In this speech, we're going to talk about the range estimation formula. The range estimation formula is the baseline to all long-range engagements. Some people may think that in order to take a long-range shot for snipers, that it is a very complicated and almost impossible task. And in all reality, it is a bunch of simple formulas put together in order to take that long-range shot. All formulas are based on getting one formula right, and that is the base formula for all long-range shots. And that one is the range estimation formula. In this speech, we're going to describe the range estimation formula and break down its three parts in order to make it a little easier to understand and to show that all long-range shots are not impossible. Okay, to start off with, the long-range formula, or the distance formula, is 25.4 times height or width in inches divided by mils. Okay, the first portion of the formula is 25.4. 25.4 is a constant. Okay, all ranges that in the military, for me, Army, that we get, we use meters. 25.4 is going to be the constant number that is used in order to obtain the actual meters to your target. Okay, in order for yards, it's 27.6. But this formula here, we're going to use 25.4 in order to get the meters. Okay, next, we talk about the height or the width. Inside of that shot, you will need to know how many inches tall your target is or how many inches wide your target is. Okay. For example, if you have a target, okay, when you get to the range, you'll take that target and get a tape measure or a ruler, depending on what you have on hand, and measure your target. For this example, we've taken our measurements, and our target is 20 inches wide and is 40 inches tall. Okay. Now that we have our measurements and we've written it down on our piece of paper, we take our target out and we put it down range and prepare to take the shot. Okay. You'll take your target and put it down range, and when you come back, you're going to start looking through your scope. Okay. A lot of deer hunting rifles have got regular crosshairs. Okay. And a regular crosshair is just in your scope. You look and it has a vertical and a horizontal line, and where you meet is where you put where they meet on your target. And when you pull the trigger, that is your intended point of impact. Okay. For our sniper scope that we use, we have little things in it called mil dots, and they're little dots that are on the actual horizontal and vertical reticles. Okay, and we use them for measurements. Now, when we get ready to prepare for the shot, we're now here talking about the mils of the formula. Okay, you'll take your crosshairs and you'll put it on your target. All right, and you find a hard line of your target. For example, the bottom of this right here would be where your horizontal and vertical lines where they meet. You would put it on the bottom, okay? And you would run your target and look up and see where they crossed back across your crosshairs. On this one, it goes 2 mils, okay? To break it down into smaller fractions, the first dot would be 1 mil, the second dot is 2 mils, your third dot is 3 mils. And to break it on down even further, if you went halfway between where they actually met and the dot, that would be 0.5 mils, okay? And then you start breaking it down with invisible lines in your head, okay? In order to get a more accurate measurement of the actual mils that you're using in your formula. For this one, for example, you're at 2 mils, okay? So we're going to take our formula of 25.4, which is the constant for meters, and we're going to times it, okay? On this one, we milled it from top to bottom, so that's going to be the height, not the width. Okay, so we know that this target from earlier measurements is 40 inches tall. Okay, so we put our 40 into our formula, and we milled it 2 dots from top to bottom. Okay, so that would be 2. And for example, this formula would work out to 25.4 times your height, which is 40 inches, divided by your mils, which came out to be 2. And in this example, our target would be 508 meters away. Alright, now that we have our base for the actual distance to your target, we could go into our further formulas for snipers. Okay? This is the biggest base formula. If you get this wrong, anything after this is going to be a waste of your time. You can get everything else right, but this one formula, if messed up, will throw your entire shot off. Okay? So we've talked about the height portion of it. I want to show another example of width so people can understand what height and width means. Okay? So we have the same target that is 20 inches wide and 40 inches tall. Okay, and we're back looking through our crosshairs that have the mill dots on them. Now this one, we're able to line up the side of it, and we're going to see how wide it is with its mills. Okay, so you take your line and you put your crosshair on it where your vertical and your horizontal line meet, and it comes out to right here. Alright, the first one that we've done, we milled it from top to bottom. Okay, now on this one we've milled it from left to right, so we want to know we're going to times it by its width. Okay, for this one, remember we broke it down: 1 mills, 2 mills, 3 mills. Okay, it comes to just past 1 dot, so we'll say 3.1 mills. Okay, because we broke it down into smaller invisible lines. All right, so we go back to our formula: 25.4, which is always the constant for meters. Okay, this time we milled it from left to right, so we're going to want to use the 20. Because it's how far it is from left to right. Okay, so 20 inches. Alright, and this time our mills came out to just past the 3rd dot, so we'll say 3.1 mills. Alright? Okay, you'll go back to your calculator, get your constant of 25.4, and times that by how wide the target is, because you got its mills on its width. So it's times 20 inches. Divided by 3.1, and this one came out to 163 meters. So now that this formula has been able to be broken down a little bit and show the 3 portions of the formula, it's not as hard to understand now, is it, from before this class. In conclusion, the good thing about all formulas is this is one of many formulas, but all formulas are done the exact same way, with adding, subtracting, and dividing. There's no overly hard formula. They can all be done with a calculator. The biggest thing about all formulas is if you mess one of them up, you waste your time with the rest of them. So does anybody have any questions about this formula?
You don't only have to be able to handle a rifle, you got to be a mathematician too.
You have to be able to work the calculator. But it's just dividing and multiplying is all this one is. All right, I appreciate everybody, and I hope y'all have a good night.